Who is watching my presentation. I'm Fifi Simon. I'm doing my artist research presentation for Art 1130 on James Turrell. To get started, I'm going to show you this piece called Small Elliptical Glass that he made very recently. You may have even seen this piece in Kendall Jenner's Open House AD tour, and this is just to introduce you to the world of light. And that is everything that James Turrell is about. That's what he works in. So here's this piece, and here it is in some different colors. Very beautiful, peaceful, and is meant to be meditative. And we'll get to that. He had a Quaker upbringing. He was born in 1943 in Pasadena, California. And my grandmother used to tell me that as you sat in Quaker silence, you were to go inside to greet the light. And that's what they believe. Art 21, you may know them if you've done an art history class here. It shows him talking about his process of how he views light as a medium that can connect us to something more spiritual or internal, and I absolutely agree with it. It's interesting because his upbringing is so specific, and even as like a Quaker, his upbringing was almost and to bring in this color for him to find resonance with his religion was really cool. He has this quote on his personal website, and he says, "My work is more about your seeing than it is about my seeing, although it is a product of my seeing." So talking about his background, I'm also interested in the sense of presence of space. That is, space where you feel a presence, almost an entity, that physical feeling and power the space can give. So in this personal introduction, Turrell explains his philosophy of sensing rather than just seeing, emphasizing that his work isn't about the object, but it's about the light itself. It's very non-objective. And even just the act of seeing the light is the art that he's trying to create. He talks about how he wants to create a space where the light has a physical presence that feels almost like it's touching you. And I absolutely love how he describes light as something that occupies space rather than just illuminating it. It resonates with me because it's minimalistic, which is a value I hold highly, and I think hold even more highly now that I've seen a lot of his work and have studied it. Now, sky spaces, if you're watching this, I highly encourage you to look up James Turrell sky spaces after this because he's done so many and they're absolutely stunning. So the Gagosian profile provides a really professional review of his career, specifically focusing on the sky spaces and his massive road and crater project, which isn't this one but is very similar. It explains how he uses architecture to frame the sky, which is so lovely, essentially turning the heavens into a flat canvas of color for the viewer. As you can see, the blue at the top of this temple it looks flat. It just looks like a color and maybe just a light source, but it's the sky. It's literally a hole in the ceiling. And this place, he's even made churches for his religion, for Quakers to come and meditate as well. And I think it's great seeing it in Beijing as well, making its way around the world and influencing people around the world is a new way to meditate and to take in nature through light. His background in psychology and mathematics definitely explain why his work feels so intentional and structured, even to a point of scientific minimalism. Okay, his permanent installation in the Guggenheim Museum since 1980, this is what he said about it. "Well, I'm known as a light artist, but rather than be someone who depicted light or painted light in some way, I wanted to have the work be light. A lot of this is the idea of seeing yourself see, understanding how we perceive." And the piece you see behind is a room that you can walk into, and the walls are situated so that you can sit down and lean against the wall, and it allows you to comfortably look up into the piece above you. This video source that I watched on the Guggenheim Museum gave me a much better visual sense of how his installations look in real time, showing how the colors shift and change as you move through them, like so. yellow to green to blue and to purple. It covers some of his early experiments with light projections and how he learned to manipulate our brains to perceive depth. It almost flattens it, even though the structure itself is incredibly tall, so seeing it in person would be very tricky on the eyes. If you were standing directly below it, you'd probably see very flat ovals just laid on top of each other, but if you were standing from the side, you might see the depth that is in it. Okay, so the light inside this piece. This is a permanent installation in Houston, and the Museum of Fine Arts did a segment on this. This is a literal tunnel of light that people walk through. The documentation explains how the light creates a sense of weightlessness and how the colors are designed to make the walls seem to disappear. The specific purpose of the piece is for the viewer to be immersed in the destination and the journey at the same time. It's a perfect example of his corner shallow space, which messes with your depth, but you can't as well walk around it. And also the wedge work, which very flat, but it gives you this depth, and it's a great way to see that concept in a public and accessible way instead of a very flat way. So this work particularly resonated with me because it's so interactive, and the message about the journey and the destination, you aren't just looking at it, you are in it, living it, in and out of the tunnel. It's so different from the 2D art that I usually focus on making and that we tend to make, but it makes me wonder how I can make my own work feel more like a physical space for people to inhabit. Here are my citations and another small look at the elliptical glass piece, and I hope you liked it. Thank you.